Hello. Now, whether this is the 10th session of the eCommerce MasterPlan Virtual Summit that you are tuning into, or the first, it's brilliant to have you here. So thank you again for logging in and joining me. I'm Chloe Thomas, host of this summit, host of the award-winning eCommerce MasterPlan podcast and the Marketing Focus Keep Optimizing podcast, and author of several best-selling books. And what my role is here today in the summit is to make sure that you get loads of great information, loads of great advice to help you build your e-commerce business. And we have a cracker of a session coming up for you in this particular time slot, because today, of course, is all about customer retention. And in this session, we are taking things to a level that many marketers fail to get to, which is a shame because it can make a huge, massive difference to the performance of, quite frankly, all your retention marketing. So it's, why wouldn't you want to try and get there? Well, this session is going to show you the roadmap to getting there, how to do it, what impact it could make for you, and much more. Are you intrigued by that? I hope you are intrigued by that, because this is an excellent session. This is really going to make a difference for you. Okay, to take us through this intriguing topic, we have the excellent Russell Flawn from Pure 360, who's been working in email marketing for Pure 360 for over 14 years, which is seriously impressive. Hello, Russell. Where are you? There you are. Hello, Russell. How are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, really good. Thank you. Good to be here.
I know, it's excellent to have you here. And, I clearly, because I'm running this summit, I'm a big fan of getting first-time buyers to buy again. Massive fan of that. Also a massive fan of what you're going to be talking about today. So shall we end the intrigue and get into it for everybody?
Let's crack on. Yep.
Okay, right. Let's bring your slides up there, put it in the right mode, and I will leave you to it.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Let's just load up. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. So I wanted to go through quite a big topic, ultimate way to ensure first purchasers buy again. Now, Seth Godin said it well, find products for your customers, not customers for your products. So I will be speaking about personalization technology, product recommendations, but also the more simple elements of that, pop-ups, and then email series, but all under the umbrella of three key elements of the best repeat purchaser shopping experience. So those three key elements, targeting by types of consumer psychology, can really help meet and surpass shopper expectations. So just a few ideas, like a thought-provoking framework, really, of consumer behavior. And then how to align your personalization rules of your personalization technology to those behaviors to really connect with returning shoppers, and then recommend a set of content across email and the website as an experience for each persona. And a set of content may be a couple of recommendation blocks, a couple of different pop-ups, and an email series. So it's all about this idea of these behaviors. So the scientific names of consumer behavior, there's a few of them. They may not all relate to your business, and that's absolutely that's my point today, is that some will relate to your business and others will not. But it's understanding and engaging with the ones that do, and then reacting to those, using personalization to help bring those personas alive and get high conversions. So cognitive, they are long-term planners on a considered or complex purchase, like furniture sellers. You'd buy, a wardrobe or sofa, takes you maybe a long time to choose. So you consider it, maybe you do a lot of research. A constructivist, they're active, they are willing to give their data, and they construct their opinion through the engagement with your brand and them putting themselves into your website. Very self-aware. Experiential, so very impulsive, ready to buy. They love to get down and dirty and really start to action anything that's available and seek those variety of experiences. Dissonance reducing, so avoid loss. They need affirmation. And then habitual, they follow a pattern, not always the crowd. So what I wanted to do is just make a big point here that these suggested consumer behaviors. Some may relate to your business. Now, they can be defined using your data. Here's some examples using long session times for the considered purchaser, or people who purchase the first time from flash sales and have short session times could be defined as impulsive. But it's not important to only segment your data in these ways. It's more of an idea to help you design better experiences with these personas in mind. So, with that in mind, I wanted to give a couple of examples of this life cycle, both from land, browsing, carting, purchasing, upsell, cross-sell, loyalty, lapsed, but just focus in on a couple. So, when they've purchased before, they land back on your website, the different personas, you can use pop-ups in very different ways to really engage with the expectations of that buyer. So with cognitive considered buyers, delay the pop-ups. Maybe don't even do pop-ups or only do exit intent, but you're blocking their path to education, which they're seeking. Whereas impulsive buyers, sure, show incentives within a pop-up, whereas the dissonance reducing or people who need affirmation, doing incentivized pop-ups with crowdsource recommendations really drives revenue. So all of these things I'm explaining is because my business has tried and tested these with our clients in the retail, travel, e-commerce space, and these are what works. Splitting each tactic like pop-ups into constituent personas, and the consumer behaviors is just one example. So the other part is on the recommendation side, cognitive, the considered purchase, surround them with recommended products, surround those with value-added post-purchase content based on long session times, and then follow up that with emails, recommendations with educational blogs and guides. Whereas someone like my wife, who's completely different to me, she's an impulsive experiential buyer. She loves to use user-generated content, so ratings and reviews. So you recommend using those. And my wife then feels like they've done all the research, that I'm actually more of a considered purchaser. So two very different personas, but they both trying to achieve that affirmation, that confirmation that they're making the right choice. So with all of these personas, and I'm more than happy to give much more detail off this session. It's too much to cover in the short time we have, but understanding user analytics to break up your customer buying personas from a life cycle stage, as you can see here, RFM personas and customer lifetime value. Then creating all your content blocks in your personalization software, recommendations, coupons, countdown timers, banners. And then I wanted to just show you a real example of a client we're doing really great work with. TurtleMat is implementing these bits of advice. So they're quite a niche brand during COVID. They had some tough times, and they're coming out of that strong by doing these three main use cases. So returning customer popovers. If they don't have an ID, then they show free UK delivery on their first order. If a customer is ID'd using their email address, and they've purchased once in the last few months, then they show a welcome back banner with a 10% discount. And if they're a consumer that has only purchased once, but not in the last, let's say 3 months, then a popover welcomes them back to the website with a more hard hitting money off discount, while also doing product recommendations pre and post first purchase using aftercare content and pet related advice. They sell mats, and pet mats are very big, and they're big sellers. And then they use their FIFO ratings and reviews to recommend mats based on highest ratings. And the third part is the cart abandonment 3-stage series. They actually have 6 variants of this, and it works very well for them. They're getting a few percent in total online sales uplift from each of these use cases. So it's very powerful stuff when you're really splitting into these personas. So first it checks what product they abandoned. Is it an indoor and outdoor mat? Then it chains imagery and social proofing relative to that product category. If it's not one of those categories, they get a default generic abandonment email. And then secondly, it checks if they're of high basket value. If so, then they get a separate trigger email that emphasizes the fact they're eligible for a free delivery. So here's just one example of the pop-up side of things. One of these use cases, they do split testing on the third persona, but having these different personas has really driven massive increase in the second purchase, just because they're serving different content that aligns to the quite different consumer behavior. They don't have all of those personas I went through, but they definitely have quite picky, considered consumers, considering its mats, the difference of colors and materials is a real want and need for the businesses, for the consumers, sorry. So here's an example of the rules engines that are rendering and serving these experiences, both in emails on the cart on the right, and then on the website, doing split testing and different content serving for different personas. But the key thing is, you'll see there, the content and the triggered series are being sent only to certain personas that are based on their best buyers. So 3 actionable takeaways, pop-ups is best to split into 3 main personas: incentivizing for impulse buyers, acknowledging the relationship using the data you have and demonstrating value and value-added content for considered buyers, and then capturing preferences for those buyers who demonstrate they're happy to give you data. Recommendations, do impulse buyers for impulse buyers and using social proof. Algorithms like people like you buy, and loyalty benefits can consider buyers, and top sellers and ratings reviews for dissonance or people who need affirmation. And lastly, the email series, recommending flash sale incentives with user generated ratings and reviews in post-purchase and abandonment emails. So that's great for impulse buyers. Habitual buyers, they want to recommending their own most browsed products, and then educational content and ratings and reviews used to generate content for cognitive or considered buyers. So for any particular piece of technology or use case you're using, which tactic, it's always the best to define within 2 or 3 personas at a minimum, drives a few 2 or 3% total online sales uplift based on our proven client successes for each of those main tactic areas. So it really is powerful, but it does require some planning. So managed onboarding we include with our customers, and mapping out the strategy of which consumer behaviors they want to access and make more revenue out of first. And yeah, defining the types, aligning those personalization rules to those behaviors, and then recommending the sets of content as an experience, and making sure that experience is served in email and on the website. Especially for considered buyers, they need to have a smooth transition from email to web. So you've got to do it as a package. But with certain software, like ours, it can be served in real time across device and very easily without you having to plan a lot. So that was it from my side of things. Obviously, it's not a lot of time to really go into depth, but my company does offer email and marketing and website personalization. We include managed onboarding and proactive strategic support to map all of these plans out. And we love working with resource constraint marketers, but who are very ambitious. We've got big ambitions to grow. We love growing our customers. So having those ideas and bringing your wants and needs to us, we love. We use a maturity model to map out where you are as a marketeer currently on your sophistication scale. And then the challenge of the first year is to get you from left to right to become that predictor, or at least a recommender, as quick as possible, because your customer's experience will thank you for it. And we have many use cases and technologies along the way that we can turn on and off as and when you are growing, when it's right for you. And I said we offer managed onboarding, and we have one of the highest deliverability in our competitors, 40% higher than DMA average. So we're pretty proud of how we take care of our customers and their traffic. And here's some of our great brands we love to work with. We predominantly work in retail and travel. So we're excited to help travel companies start growing again, and retail get back into shops and maybe use on and offline data to really personalize the online shopping experience. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for your time here, where you can get me. And yeah, I'd love to speak to any of you soon. I'm excited to talk about this sort of thing. So I'd welcome any questions and calls.
Wow, Russell. I actually almost love those last couple of slides more than any other in your presentation because of the way in which you've been telling us about how personas can help our business. And then it's like, and at Pure 360, we use personas to help our customers create their personas. And it's like this beautiful kind of circular thing. But if you guys out there watching, if you are anything like me, there were a lot of notes I was taking during your session, Russell, because that was brilliant. That was spot on. I have
Thank
lots
you.
of thoughts. Just whilst I try and drill my thoughts into some questions to ask you, could you just remind everyone the best way to get in contact with you if they want to find out more?
Sure. So easiest way is to go to our website, pure360.com, but you can email me, russell.flawn@pure360.com. Really just to have a discussion on your personas and mapping out, is Google Analytics working for you versus email marketing, and demonstrating the right customer experience is what we love to talk about. So we'd welcome any phone calls or visits to our site.
Thanks. Well, I'll leave that up on screen for a couple of seconds for anyone who's quickly scribbling it down or screen grabbing it or something. Russell, where do I start? I think what I really liked at what you've just run through, and which I think is probably a point worth making again to the audience, is that whilst you flagged us up with the cognitive, constructivist, experiential, dissonance reducing, and habitual, she says, reading her notes and hoping she's got them correct and in the right order.
Pretty good.
So you talked to us about those five. You also made the point really clear that this is not about dividing your customer base into these five groups. It's about working which of these kind of emotions and these psychologies relate back to your customer base. So I'm guessing some companies are just going to find only one of these is relevant to them.
Absolutely. But this is just a good, it's a thought-provoking framework. And a conversation starter to start becoming confident in marketeers using their data to plan the better shopping experiences. For a marketeer who's very used to doing bulk marketing, manual emails, and not a lot of personalization on the website, it's hard to put their trust into consumer behavior and let consumer behavior lead their marketing and their shopping experiences. To do that, the best thing is to learn more about your customers. Now, you can either do that just by segmentation and using RFM modeling, customer lifetime value modeling. We provide that, and that does give a certain level of trust and I understand who my best and worst customers are. But this framework I've talked about is just more of a consultative opener to get you thinking, other than life cycle stage, purchase stage, which is what RFM modeling is about, what I've talked about today is just adding on some extra relevance of what are the human behaviors behind those purchase decisions. And there are, we're all different. As I said, me and my wife are very different. We buy in very differently. So if a brand can just have a think, recognize that, make some ideas down, and then think, okay, so I've got 2 out of the 5 probably relate to me. Let's design an experience. Don't just show one pop-up to everybody asking for their email address. That just, annoys the hell out of me, because I'm someone who doesn't like pop-ups and doesn't like to enter my data. So recognizing based on how long I spend on a website or my attributes is just a good thought-provoking exercise.
Yeah, I just, for anyone out there, RFM is recency, frequency, monetary value, and it's when you segment based on how recently someone bought, how much they spend on average, and how many orders they've placed. Just for those of you who are screaming at your screen, what is RFM?
Yeah,
Um,
apologies. I
oh no,
understand. Yeah.
it's fine. It's why I'm here, to pick up on these things and make sure we let people focus on what we're actually trying to talk about. Because I think the other cool thing, I think, from what you've just run through is that I think a lot of businesses go, right, we know we need to understand the consumer and their emotions a bit more. We know we need to get into this. And okay, our customers are constructivists. So they are self-learning, and they want to do that research. So we'll change all our messaging to say, here's where you can learn more rather than buy. and it's a terrible example, but what I'm trying to say is a lot of retailers only get as far as the messaging. They don't get as far as the next step, which is the experience and thinking about how, when we know this about our customers, what therefore should the pop-up look like? What should the what should the website experience be like? What should the email experience be like? And how do we bring all that together? I'm guessing, Russell, that's where, when you said about the, 2 to 3% uplift overall sales from implementing this sort of thing, that's where it comes from. It's taking this more holistic approach.
Absolutely. The 2 to 3% uplift is per set of use cases. So
Okay.
post-purchase abandonment emails, 2 or 3%. Overall, our clients have seen on average about 16, 17% total sales uplift. But that is when of the clients who are implementing experiences, sets of pop-ups, recommendations in emails and on the website, and then email series, multi-stage. So you can have tremendous uplifts, but it has to be done, thinking about the whole email to web experience. A big point to make is I fully understand it does require technology to go to the next step, like you said, designing messaging or thinking you have one set of buyer, so I need to put this all over my website. You need to start trusting technology to recommend and personalize parts of your website when it's appropriate. Only show incentives when to the people who will need them and will convert them. Do not show them or else it will really butt up against certain behaviors. And there is a point where you have to start trusting technology. And, certain providers out there, including us, offer that. And so the provider really needs to help marketeers use it, set it up with them, plan out their strategy. Buying software needs to be with a partner rather than a software, someone you buy software from. So yeah, it is a lot of work, but it can reap a lot of rewards.
Yes, there's nothing worse than coming across a retailer who's got the most amazing tech stack in the world and they're doing nothing with it. If you're going to invest in the technology, you've also got to invest in working out how to make it work for you, ideally with the people who are building that tech for you.
Yeah, and that's why we have those personas of our maturity model, because every client sort of needs here's a starting framework, sprinkle these use cases over the first few months. Yeah, just bite-size pieces to begin with.
Well, Russell, on the subject of bite size, you have given us a massive bite size session to really get our brains going today. So thank you very much for that. Like I said, I've written a whole pile of notes. I managed to get notes on screen, on my tablet, and on paper here. So I think after this summit, one of the things I'm going to do is try and get all those notes into one place for starters. So Russell, thank you so much for being here. Before you go, would you just like to remind people how they can get hold of you and Pure 360 if they want to come and get you guys to supply the tech and the advice to get them to the right stage on their life cycle?
Yeah, sure. Pure360.com is our website. Give us a call, submit one of the forms, or just email me, russell.flawn@pure360. Love to have a chat.
Oh, perfectly done. Russell, thank you so much for being part of the summit today.
Great. Thank you very much.
So huge thanks to Russell for joining us and to Pure 360 for sponsoring. As I think I've said a fair few times now, it's because the sponsors sponsor that we've been able to let you all in for free. Because we can let you in for free, we'd also love you to share this out on social media so we can help even more people to improve their marketing. So there's social sharing buttons right in front of you if you particularly liked Russell's session, so you can spread that around. And if you know someone who you think needs to watch this session, then please do send them the link to this page, because the replay will be available for this and every single session throughout the event. On the right hand side of the page, you can download Russell's slide deck, and you will also find a link to find out more about Pure 360. What else can I tell you to help you make the most of the summit? I know we are producing an ebook of the summit, which includes my team's notes on each sessions and my recommendations of where to go to learn more. So if you want to take things to the next level, what you should do, what you should read, what you should listen to. If you are Watching live, thanks for tuning in live. We'll be emailing it to you on Thursday. If you're watching on replay, it should be available to download somewhere down there right now. Stay tuned though, because up next, we've got Jessica Datillo Costa to run us through how to drive sales without discounting and how much do we all want to be able to do that. To find that, head back to Agenda, click on the session, and it will be starting at past. Don't forget though to join our live Q&A at the end of today's content as well. Right, I will see you in the next session.
You have a product you're passionate about, and now's the time to grow your online sales. Klaviyo can help. Klaviyo is the ultimate marketing platform for growing online sales. Build higher value customer relationships using email automation, SMS marketing, and list growth tools. Turn your dream into a reality with a free Klaviyo account.